Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving deep into the United Nations Conference on Trade and Development. You'll hear it called UNCTD. And we're going to look at India's growing and really influential voice within it. This was all highlighted at a recent high-level session in Geneva, and we're going to cover all the essential details you'll need, especially for your exams.
So let's start with the big question. Why should this topic be on your radar at all? Well, for any exam aspirant, the answer is pretty simple. UNCTAD is right at the heart of the global debate on economic fairness, and India is really stepping up as a key leader in that conversation. Getting a grip on this is, frankly, fundamental to understanding the world economy today.
So, to put it simply, UNCTAD was created to be a champion for developing countries. It was born out of this feeling that the big global financial institutions, like the World Bank and the IMF, weren't really designed to tackle the specific challenges faced by the global south. So UNCTAD was set up to be their voice, their dedicated forum.
Here's our game plan. We'll kick things off with what UNCTAD is all about. Then we'll take a little journey through its history. After that, we'll zoom in on India's role at the recent conference, and finally, we'll look at the huge global challenges that are being tackled. Okay, first up, the developing world's voice. Let's get right into the nitty-gritty of UNCTAD's structure and its mission. So, its core mission, its whole reason for being, is to help developing countries integrate into the global economy on much fairer terms. And listen, this isn't just about trade. It's about leveling the playing field in everything: finance, technology, investment, for all 195 of its member states. Now, to make sure everyone's voice is heard fairly, the members are grouped into these four lists. And as you can see, India is right there in List A. This grouping system is a classic detail for exams, so what's an easy way to remember it? Well, here's a super simple way to lock this in your memory. Just think A, B, C, D. A is for Africa and Asia. B is for the big Western economies. C is for the Caribbean and Central America, and D is for the divided former Soviet bloc states. A neat little trick to help you out during revision.
All right, next up, let's take a journey through time. We're going to look at some of UNCTAD's biggest milestones and achievements over the years.
This timeline hits some of the major highlights, starting way back in Geneva in '64. But for India, a really pivotal moment came in 1968, when New Delhi actually hosted UNCTAD II. This conference was absolutely crucial in pushing forward one of UNCTAD's most impactful ideas ever. And that is the Generalized System of Preferences, or GSP. Honestly, this is one of UNCTAD's greatest hits. Think of it as an economic head start. It allows goods from developing countries to enter developed markets with lower taxes, or sometimes no taxes at all. That makes the products cheaper and gives them a real competitive edge. It's a tangible, practical boost to their economies. Okay, so let's fast forward to today and talk about India's vision, which was laid out at the recent UNCTAD session. Union Minister Shri Piyush Goyal presented a really compelling strategy, and he backed it up with some seriously impressive numbers. Let's break down the highlights. First and foremost, the minister really underscored India's economic muscle, pointing to an average annual growth of over 7% for the last 3 years. That makes it the fastest-growing large economy on the planet.
But this growth is being matched by a huge commitment to sustainability. The country is aiming for 500 gigawatts of renewable energy by 2030. And get this, despite having 17% of the world's population, India contributes only 3.5% of global emissions. That's a powerful statement about responsible growth.
India's digital transformation is another massive part of the story. We're talking about 1 billion internet users. 1 billion. And it's the world's second largest user base for platforms like ChatGPT. India is absolutely becoming a leader in the digital economy. And this whole leap is being powered by its digital public infrastructure and, of course, a huge young population with an average age of just 28 and a half. So what was India's core message? It was a powerful call for greater South-South cooperation. Basically, more collaboration among developing nations themselves. And this isn't just talk. India is leading by example, championing global initiatives like the Solar and Biofuels Alliances. Here's a simple way to remember these for your exam. Just think IGCD is sustainable. That stands for the International Solar Alliance, Global Biofuels Alliance, and the Coalition for Disaster Resilient Infrastructure. All right, finally, let's look at the major global challenges out there and how India is proposing solutions. The minister was very clear. India sees itself not just as a participant in the world economy, but as a key problem solver.
This slide lays it out perfectly. For every major challenge, India is putting forward a solution. To deal with fragile supply chains, there's Atmanirbhar Bharat, the Self-Reliance Initiative. In response to one-sided green taxes like Europe's Carbon Border Adjustment Mechanism, or CBAM, India is saying, hey, developed nations need to fulfill their own climate finance promises first. And to bridge the technology gap, it's offering its own open-source digital public infrastructure as a model for the world.
And this entire approach, this entire worldview, is guided by the philosophy of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, the world is one family. It's a vision where progress is a collective effort, focused on shared prosperity for everyone, not some zero-sum game between nations.
All right, let's get to the most critical section for your exams. We have packed all the key facts, all the data, and all the key terms you need into the next few slides. Think of this as your rapid revision guide, so let's really lock in these details.
Let's quickly recap the must-know facts on UNCTAD. Ready? Established in 1964, headquarters in Geneva, the current Secretary General is Rebecca Grinspan. It has 195 members in those 4 lists. Its landmark achievement, the GSP. And that historic conference in India was in New Delhi in 1968. These are your non-negotiable takeaways.
Next up, the key data points on India. You'll definitely want to use these to back up your answers. Remember, over 7% average growth, that 500 gigawatt renewable target, incredibly low emissions at 3.5% of the global total, huge infrastructure investment, 1 billion internet users, and that massive demographic dividend with an average age of 28.5.
And finally, let's review the key terms and concepts. You need to be familiar with the Minister, Shri Piyush Goyal. Make sure you understand core concepts like Atmanirbhar Bharat and DPI. Know the global initiatives like ISA and GBA. Be ready to talk about the tricky issues like CBAM, and tie it all together with that guiding philosophy of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam.
So, we'll end with a thought to leave you with. As the voice of the global South gets stronger, and as countries like India propose entirely new frameworks for trade and development, the really big question is, how will the balance of economic power shift, and what role will institutions like UNCTAD, born in the 20th century, play in shaping the 21st? Something to think about.